Kia ora koutou and welcome to the Special Purpose Zones and Open Space and Recreation Zones webinar. This webinar covers a number of zones, so feel free to skip to whichever may be of interest or relevance to you. The webinar will start with some introductory information about what special purpose zones are within the context of the National Planning Standards. Following this, I'll provide some information on a number of special purpose zones and the open space and recreation zones, including the types of activities that are enabled within these zones and whether there are any major differences between the operative district plan and the proposed district plan for each. The National Planning Standards were released in 2019 to ensure consistency of approach to the format and content of district and regional plans across New Zealand. The standards specify the zones and other spatial layers that the district plan is allowed to have. A number of special purpose zones are specified within the standards, including an airport zone, correction zone, future urban zone, hospital zone, Māori purpose zone, port zone, stadium zone, and tertiary education zone. Aside from those specified special purpose zones can only be created when the proposed land use activities or anticipated outcomes of the additional zone meet all of the following criteria. They are significant to the district, region, or country. It is impractical to manage the activities through another zone, and it is impractical to manage the activities through a combination of spatial layers. The special purpose zones included in the proposed Napier District Plan are Te Whanganui a Orotu, Ahuriri Estuary, Ecology and Stormwater Zone, Airport Zone, Boat Harbour Zone, Marine Industrial Zone, Māori Purpose Zone, Port Zone, Stadium Zone, Tertiary Education Zone, and Wastewater Treatment Zone. This webinar provides information on only some of these zones, focusing on those that may be of more interest to the community. The Te Whanganui a Orotu Ecology and Stormwater Special Purpose Zone relates to the 289 hectare farm to the north of Prebenson Drive, known as Lagoon Farm. This farm has been owned and operated by Napier City Council for many years as a pastoral farm. The new zone provisions enable the existing pastoral farming operations to continue without any additional restrictions. The special purpose zone provisions also enable a change in the way this site is used. This site has been signalled for use as a new park that seeks to manage the city's stormwater more effectively, both in terms of managing the quantity of water in significant rainfall events and in relation to improving water quality prior to its discharge into the estuary. Alongside stormwater management, there is an opportunity to restore and enhance biodiversity values through planting and habitat creation. The proposed provisions also enable activities such as recreation, education, and Māori purpose activities, such as mahinga kai and ceremonial activities. Council is currently working alongside the Hawke's Bay Regional Council and Mana Ahuriri Trust to prepare a master plan that will determine how the site will be developed and how this will be sequenced over time. The intent is that the proposed zone provisions are enabling for these sorts of activities while signalling those activities that are not appropriate on this site prior to the completion of the master plan. The Māori Purpose Zone is a special purpose zone newly introduced under the National Planning Standards. It is intended to enable the types of activities typically carried out within marae, which are often mixed and differ to those within standard residential, rural, commercial or industrial zones. Napier has 3 urban marae. These are Te Poho o Tangianui marae in Green Meadows, Ngā Paki Aka ki Te Iwi marae in Mariwa, and Pukimokimoki marae in Marae Nui. The types of activities carried out within these marae vary. The provisions of the proposed Māori Purpose Zone enable the following. Customary marae buildings including whananui, whare tikuna, whare waka, whare kai, whare paku, and associated storage sheds and buildings, some residential units and activities, training and education facilities, places of assembly and meeting rooms, visitor accommodation associated with Māori cultural activities, and Māori purpose activities. Māori purpose activities include those activities relating to the expression of Māori culture and include mahinga kai activities, performing arts or sporting activities, hangihanga, matariki observance activities, wainanga and hui, among others. The fourth property rezoned Māori purpose zone is called the West Shore Canoe Reserve. This property, located adjacent to Pandora Pond, was the only landing place allocated in Napier for Waka after the 1851 Ahuriri block purchase and vested as a place for cultural activities and traditional use. The standards applying to permitted activities are intended to protect the amenity values of neighbouring properties and to mitigate the effects of stormwater runoff. The airport zone operates alongside other overlays and designations in order to provide for the operational activities of the Hawke's Bay Airport. The zone provides for a number of permitted activities subject to standards. These include airport-related activities, agriculture and horticulture activities, and one small cafe located outside of the terminal buildings. Airport-related activities including airport terminals, catering and preparation of food, vehicle parking and storage, rental vehicle activities, administration and offices, freight and luggage facilities, among other things. Resource consent is needed for a number of other activities including light manufacturing and servicing, warehousing, transport depots and vehicle sales, and research and innovation activities. The overlays that the airport zone functions alongside include an airport business precinct, 2 landscape-sensitive control areas, a view shaft control area, and 2 noise boundaries. The proposed district plan includes 5 open space zones, 2 of which are special purpose zones, as well as 1 specific control area. The open space zone replaces the reserve zone, foreshore reserve zone, and marine parade recreation zone in the operative district plan. This zone is intended to provide for a wide range of passive and active recreation activities. The natural open space zone is more focused on the preservation of the natural environment, while the sport and active recreation zone provides for a range of indoor and outdoor sport and active recreation activities. The boat harbour zone provides for a range of commercial and recreational fishing activities, water-based recreation and commercial activities. The stadium zone is specifically related to McLean Park, providing for the types of activities using this premier sporting park, including other forms of entertainment to broaden the use of the park in the future. The Marine Parade Recreation Control Area recognises that this reserve is used differently to others, and that it contains a range of attractions, provides access to the coast, and that the reserve is used for the sale of food and drink from multiple premises. Napier's parks and reserves are frequently being utilised by commercial operators such as coffee carts as a convenient way for people using these spaces to add to their leisure experience. The commercial use of our parks and reserves need to be balanced against the effects of these commercial operations, including public access and our enjoyment of natural spaces, as well as consideration for matters of equity with other commercial operators. As such, commercial operations in Napier's open spaces are tightly regulated and only provide for small-scale food and drink operations in limited places and through a resource consent process. Our parks and reserves are often bordered by residential properties. As they accommodate a number of activities, including active recreation, temporary events, and community events, the congregation of people can generate effects such as noise and traffic. The provisions of the proposed district plan aim to strike a balance between enabling activities and protecting the amenity of neighbouring properties. The boat harbour zone provides for a range of water-based activities, including commercial and recreation fishing, leisure pursuits, and limited commercial activities. The provisions of the proposed district plan are intended to continue to provide for these activities while requiring resource consent for new buildings and some commercial activities, so effects can be considered on a case-by-case basis. There's a lot of ways that you can find out more about this topic. We have a number of topic summaries available on our website, which you can see on the slide. You can also book a chat with one of the team through this website. We're also running some public open sessions where you can come and meet the team and ask us any questions you might have. You can find out when and where these are at the website listed on screen. We encourage you to make a submission on the proposed district plan, and you can also do this on the website listed on screen. Submissions are open through to 15 December.